Hello, this is novaTopFlex for part 2 of the Debian Frequently Asked Questions series. One can get the installation images for Debian by downloading the appropriate files from the Debian website. There may be additional information and context on CD and DVD images. Installing Debian from CD is straightforward. Configure your system for booting off a CD, insert the CD, and reboot. Your system will now be running the Debian installer. See the Debian GNU/Linux installation guide for more information. Official Debian CD images indeed contain symlinks like frozen, stable, testing, unstable, even if the CD is, for instance, just containing stable. So please check /.disk/info to find out which Debian version is contained. It is also present on /readme.txt on the CD. So please read https://www.debian.org/releases to find out what the current stable and testing releases are. And then, yes, you can also boot Debian from a set of files you can download from the archive site and mirrors for Debian. You can also download a small CD image file, create a bootable CD from it, install the basic system, and the rest can be installed over the network. So Debian will recommend that you look at the cd/netinst article from Debian. And then there are alternative strategies for booting the system installer. Apart from CD or DVD, one can install Debian GNU/Linux by booting from USB memory stick, directly from hard disk, or using TFTP net booting. For installing on multiple computers, it's possible to do fully automatic installations. Please note that not all methods are supported by all computer architectures. Once the installer has booted, the rest of the system can be downloaded either over the network or from local media, so the Debian GNU Linux installation guide has more information. Choosing a Debian distribution. So the answer is a bit complicated. If security or stability are at all important, please install Stable. If you are a new user, start with Stable. Some of the software is quite old, but it's the least buggy environment to work in. You can easily switch to the more modern, unstable, or testing environments once you are a little more confident. If you are a desktop user with a lot of experience in the operating system and do not mind facing the odd bug now and then or even full system breakage, use Unstable. And if you are running a server, please install Stable. This is by far the strongest and safest choice. So the following questions. One may be asked to install Stable, but in Stable, some hardware is not detected or working. So what's the procedure? Try to search the web using a search engine and see if someone else is able to get it working on Stable. Most hardware should work fine with Stable, but if you have some state-of-the-art cutting-edge hardware, it might not work with Debian Stable. If this is the case, you might want to install or upgrade to either testing or unstable. LinuxOnLaptops.com is a very good website to see if someone else is able to get it working under Linux. The website is not specific to Debian, but is nevertheless a tremendous resource. And the Debian Frequently Asked Questions are not aware of any such website for desktops at the time. Another option would be to ask in the Debian user mailing list by sending an email to debian-user@lists.debian.org. Messages can be posted even without subscribing. The archives can be read through lists.debian.org/debian-user. Information regarding subscribing can be found in the location of archives. One is strongly encouraged to post questions on the mailing list rather than on Internet Relay Chat, IRC. The mailing list messages are archived, so the solution to one's problem can help others with the same issue. Yes, Unstable has the most recent, latest versions, but the packages are not well tested and might have bugs. The stable versions are well tested and less likely to have any bugs, so I cannot guarantee that, even on Stable's old versions. The packages in testing will fall between these two extremes. The stable version, just look at KDE, GNOME, Xorg, or even the kernel. They are very old, really outdated packages in Debian Stable. The age of the release packages at Stable depends on when the last release was made. Since there is typically over 1 year between releases, you might find that Stable contains old versions of packages. However, they have been tested in and out. One can confidently say that the packages do not have any known severe bugs, security holes, etc. in them. Packages in Stable integrate seamlessly with other Stable packages. These characteristics are very important for production servers which have to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On the other hand, packages in testing are unstable can have hidden bugs, security holes, etc. Moreover, some packages in testing and unstable might not be working as intended. Usually, people working on a single desktop prefer having the latest and most modern set of packages. Unstable is a solution for this group of people. So stability and novelty are two opposing ends of the spectrum. So novelty is unstable and stability is stable. Could you possibly change to another distribution? Yes, but it is a one-way process. You can go from stable to testing to unstable, but the reverse direction is not possible. So better be sure if you're planning to install or upgrade to unstable. Downgrading, again, is not possible. Actually, you might be able to go from unstable to testing and then to stable if you are an expert and are willing to spend some time and you're real careful and you know what you're doing. But in the process, your configuration files might be lost. And now, there is no frequently asked questions list that can actually tell someone to install stable, testing, or unstable. This is a rather subjective issue. There's no perfect answer as it depends on your software needs, willingness to deal with possible breakage, and experience in system administration. Stable is rock solid, but it might not have support for the latest hardware and has full security support. Testing is more up to date, and it breaks less often than unstable. But when it breaks, it might take a long time for things to get rectified. This could be days, and it could be months at times. It also does not have permanent security support. Unstable is the latest software and changes a lot. Consequently, it can break at any point. However, fixes get rectified in many occasions in a couple of days, and it always has the latest releases of software packaged for Debian. When deciding between testing and unstable, bear in mind there might be times when tracking testing would be beneficial as opposed to unstable. One of this document's authors experienced such transition due to the GCC transition from GCC 3 to GCC 4. This was a very long time ago. He was trying to install the labplot package on a machine tracking unstable, and it could not be installed in unstable as some of its dependencies have undergone GCC 4 transition and some have not. But the package in testing was installable on a testing machine as the GCC 4 transition packages that had not trickled down to testing at the time. So testing broken, so a package might not be installable through package management tools. Sometimes might not be available at all. Maybe it was at least temporarily removed due to bugs or unmet dependencies. Sometimes a package may install but not behave in the proper way. When these things happen, the distribution is said to be broken, at least for this one package. Why is it that testing can be broken for months? Won't the fixes introduced in unstable flow directly down into testing? After a certain number of days, the answer is yes. It could be a 5-day threshold. They go into testing only when there are no RC bugs reported against them. If there is an RC bug filed against one, it will not go into testing after the 5 days. The idea is that if the package has any problems, it would be discovered by people using unstable and will be fixed before it enters testing. This keeps testing in a usable state for most of the time. Overall, a brilliant concept, depending on who you ask, but things aren't always that simple. Consider that one is interested in a package on June 10th and then on June 15th, and then on June 25th, there might be an RC bug in testing, and then we go into July, and it's possible to only use the program after, say, July 13th. So a broken package could be broken for 1 month or more. It could be dependent on 4 other packages or more. So while the scenario example was imaginary, similar situations could occur in real life, though they are generally rare on Debian. From an administrator's point of view, which distro requires more attention? Debian requires very little administration. Stable requires very little, and testing and unstable require constant maintenance from the administrator. All you need to worry about is security updates on stable. Testing or unstable, it's a good idea to be aware of the new bugs discovered in the installed packages, bug fixes, features introduced, etc. When a new release is made, well, this question will not help you in choosing a distribution, but sooner or later you will face this. So there's old stable, stable, testing, and unstable. Whether it's Buster, Bullseye, Bookworm, or SID. Now, right now, Bookworm, I believe, is in stable, because it's Debian 12. And does anyone know about Debian 13 yet? Unstable is always referred to as SID. It's irrespective of whether a release is made or not. Unstable is always called Debian SID. Packages constantly migrate from SID to testing, but in stable they remain the same except for security updates. After some time, testing becomes frozen, but it'll still be called testing. At this point, no new packages from unstable can migrate into testing unless they include release critical bug fixes. When testing is frozen, all the new bug fixes introduced have to be manually checked by the members of the release team, done to ensure that there won't be any unknown severe problems in the frozen testing. And then RC bugs are reduced to either 0 or, if greater than 0, either marked as ignored for the release or deferred for a point release. Frozen testing with no RC bugs will be released as a new stable version. So Bookworm is Debian 12 now. Frozen testing is with no RC bugs released as a new stable version. In this example, it's Debian 11, so 12 is Bookworm and 11 is Bullseye. At this stage, old stable is Bullseye and stable is Bookworm. The contents of stable and frozen testing are the same at this point. I'm not sure if that's still the case though. A new testing is based on the old testing. Packages start coming down from SID to testing, and the Debian community will be working towards making the next stable release. And then one may have a working desktop or cluster of desktops with Debian installed.